Well, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever. Good something or other. The Bill Crane Report is back on the air again for another go-around. My friend Dwayne Weiss is here.
Hello, everybody.
To add intelligence and stability to my raving.
Or as Hillary Clinton once said, we're a couple of uneducated white guys. Deplorable uneducated white guys.
We're deplorables.
And we are deplorable, too.
That's right. I'm proud of it. So anyway, I got some tidbits here to share with you. You know, I don't know. Maybe it's me, but I was someplace. I don't want to name where I was. And I went there, and as I was leaving, at reception there, I walked by 3 young ladies. 1, 2, 3. They all looked at me, and I looked at them. Not one word was spoken. Thanks for coming. Have a great night.
Oh, these were employees of the place.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Yeah,
were,
I'm sorry.
I thought you were just oogling 3 girls in a line or something here.
No, that was the employees.
Oh, okay.
And I'm saying to myself, gee, am I supposed to thank them for using the facilities here? Or are they supposed to thank me for being a member and coming in?
I think common courtesy is a lost art among the young.
It is. It is. You know, just a hey, good night.
Yep.
That's all.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
it comes down to that damn computer again. That's what they interface with.
In person.
And they don't have to say good night to the computer
Exactly.
or have a nice day or whatever.
Although I have said good night, too.
Right. Boy, oh boy. Boy, I got some good ones in here. Oh, my favorite one. Colleges are adding a course called adulting.
Adulting.
Adulting. Not adultery.
Well,
adulting.
I think there's a difference, but...
And it's stuff like doing your laundry,
oh, okay, yeah.
shopping, eating properly,
Go ahead.
interfacing with your roommate, balancing a checkbook, cashing checks,
Yep.
staying in touch with your family. What the hell is the average college student? Is he about 7 years old?
See, I am a one for that if I was revamping the education system, this would be a mandatory course in high school. It's like daily living.
You know what? I said that to a teacher, and you know what she said to me?
What?
I'm given the curriculum.
Oh, of course
it
you
is what I must teach.
Oh, yeah. Teacher had
no
no choice.
bells, no whistles.
That's right.
Now, this is really great. What a country.
But they'll teach something that has no bearing on the kid gets out whatsoever. No, had nothing. They don't remember anything of it, or do they care? Because you should be able to, education should teach you how to live. When you get out of high school, hell, some of the stuff you should be, when you get out of 8th grade, you should know. But even high school, you should know how to balance a checkbook. Even if you do your stuff online, you still got to account for what is there or isn't there.
When you go and get your first apartment,
Yeah.
you got to understand what a lease is.
What is a lease?
Yeah.
What does it obligate me?
You know what the kids do? Get the pen, sign it,
Yeah.
and that's it.
That's it.
That's it. They don't know what the hell they signed.
Banking. What do you have? A checkbook? Have a
card, a credit
card? Yeah.
Should I get a credit or a debit card?
How important is a credit rating? They don't know. Hell, some of these kids got a 500 credit rating because they just go out and spend.
You mean I got to have car insurance?
Yeah.
Where do I get that? Dad? You didn't tell me about this.
You mean
Dad,
I can't
Mom,
just
don't
take
tell
your
them
plate
about
off
anything.
that car and stick it on this car? Or why not?
By the way, I got a previous poll here from New Hampshire. In June, Biden was 32. In November, he was 23. And in the latest poll, he's 12. Would you say that his campaign is not doing well?
I'd say it's faltering.
But then again, he's not going to New Hampshire on a regular basis. In fact, he's not doing much of anything. He's waiting for South Carolina and the Rust Belt.
Yeah.
He figures he's going to do well out there. I don't know. So Ken Langone was on TV. Very nice guy. 85 years old. Founder of Home Depot.
Yep.
And he was on Stewart. And I'll tell you, I wish I'd have him on more often. He's great. In education, in the 30 industrialized countries, the top 30 countries in the world, we are number one as far as cost per student.
Yes, we are.
We pay the most to send a student through school. Out of the top 30, when results are examined, we are 28th out of 30.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're really getting quite the bang for the buck, aren't we? So who do we blame for this? The teachers?
No, it's not the
No?
teachers. It's the administration of the education system. For years, we taught, they used to call it the ABCs, or the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah.
And then, over the years, education started moving away from that, and they moved into the P era, the philosophy era. Not only can you should have to be able to teach the student the principles of chemistry, but you should understand the philosophy of understanding. How is he going to understand this in philosophy? How is he going to express this into himself? Well, pretty soon, the teaching of the chemistry got less and less, and the philosophy part of it got more and more and more. The more that got, the more PhDs we got in the philosophical studies of education.
Let me guess that as they went more and more into the philosophy of it, was there more and more liberal thought?
Oh, absolutely.
Was it? Oh, gee whiz, I would
And
never
today,
guess that.
today, the teaching of an actual subject, particularly on the undergrad system, is very, very small. Now, it gets much greater if you go to a master's of one of the STEM courses, the science, technology, or engineering, and math. Then it really blooms, but you don't get all that much on the undergraduate. You get some, but for the first 2 years, you're sitting there 2 years looking at English history, philosophy of art, music appreciation. What is that kid ever going to use as a nuclear engineer? They say, well, it makes a more rounded education. Well, he's smart enough that when he gets the time, he'll go and pursue that on his own.
Yeah, medieval arts.
If he's interested in that, that's what
he'll.
he'll go look at. If he's interested in Chinese music, he'll go study Chinese music. But
It gives them a nice round education.
yeah, but it's still it justifies a whole lot of people in a whole lot of positions. Justifies
Peddling
their
a whole
existence.
bunch of BS.
Yep, right.
And the stuff he needs to be successful in business. Ooh,
Business
Business
not
is
going to be there.
icky.
No,
No.
not going to be there.
ay, ay, ay. Oh, by the way, your friend. So they asked Ken Langone, why is socialism now the soup du jour? He said, it's the naivete of the young to think that they will get all the free things that are being promised.
You just hit the key word in the whole thing. Free.
And promised.
Yeah, promised free. These kids, and I use kids loosely, I don't mean just kids. I mean the 20s, the 30s, even the 40s. Believe that word free. It's free. There is no such thing as free. Maybe air is free.
Someone is paying.
Somebody is going to pay for that. Whether it be you, But usually it comes back to you in one way or another, but they don't see that. If it's free, well, most of they say, well, it's government. That's free. It's not. Who's the government? You are. You're going to end up paying for it.
You know, Stewart asked Langone, I forget exactly how he phrased it, but if you could do one thing that would help straighten things out in this country, he said, you know what I'd do? He says, I'd tell the people to stop electing the goddamn fools they send to Washington. I think that tells it all.
Yeah. But, you know, your Senate politicians are interested in primary. It's so far above the second step is self-preservation and getting reelected.
That's right. And after the second or third time they're reelected, they're feeling comfortable in there, then they start feathering their nest.
Yep, exactly.
They're taking care of number one. Oh, yeah, I got to get my son into a good college. I'll call University of Villanova and I'll get him in there or something. Those are the kinds of things they start doing then. Oh, they have this staff do it.
Do you think, does Elizabeth Warren, for example, care about the United States Senate? She's never there.
Never there. She hasn't made a roll call in November.
She's never there.
No.
She's getting herself elected president.
She promised she would fill out her full 6-year term. 2 months after that, she formed up an exploration committee to study running for president. 2 months.
Yeah, and if these characters would get together and sit down and do the damn business there, instead of squabbling with each other, we wouldn't have the problems we have today.
You know, Chuck Schumer was criticized for praising Peter King, who's a rep from New York. He's a Republican. And he said he's been principled and never let others push him away from his principles. I will miss him in Congress and value his friendship. Now, Schumer said that about him. The blowback from the Democrats about Schumer was unbelievable. The names he was called, and Omar led the outrage, by the way. He was anti-Muslim bigot and all this, and Chuck can't win. He shouldn't have got up that morning.
We haven't heard as much from her lately.
No. And you know, I wonder if they have said to her, turn the sound down.
Turn the volume
down. You're not
down.
popular.
Yeah.
And we need to win. And don't worry, after we win, you'll have a place.
Yeah, right now, you're muddying the waters here for us.
Maybe we'll make you ambassador to Israel.
yeah, that'll work.
By the way, Walmart plans to open 500 new stores over the next 5 years in China. Isn't that something?
Yep.
That is quite an undertaking. So Walmart apparently thinks this trade deal is going to go through.
Oh, yeah, they're counting on it.
Yeah. And Walmart is one hell of a stock to own, too, by the way. They have done fabulously. Berkeley professor, his name is Jackson Kernian. He is a graduate student instructor at Berkeley. So in other words, he's got a 4-year degree, and he's like a teacher's helper, okay? This is a quote. I looked it up on the internet to make sure that this hadn't been misconstrued. You know, this is what he said. Rural people are bad and deserve an uncomfortable life for rejecting the efficient way of city life, i.e., smaller cubicles to live in, less electricity used, less natural gas, less driving of vehicles to your job. In other words, why don't we become like China and Japan and just put people in little 500 square foot areas, and they can call that home, and they can ride a bicycle to work. But
Well, that's your thought process.
That's it.
That's infiltrating into education.
and this guy is talking to kids.
Yep.
We need work camps. Charlie Kirk, is on Fox a lot as a young commentator.
Yep.
Ben Shapiro is now showing up on Fox and in other venues. Very articulate, young, conservative type Politico, if you will. And they were on with Stewart the other morning, and they said, quote, "We are having trouble getting venues big enough to accommodate all the college students that want to hear us."
Mm-hmm.
That is a good sign. By the way, Charlie Kirk is convinced that the youngsters from 17 to 20 are very conservative. They see through this whole joke of socialism. He basically said, don't be afraid of the future.
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope he's right.
Absolutely.
They're so influenced. But again, we don't really know what's going on.
No, we don't. You're right.
Because our media today is so filtered. You know, freedom of the press, baloney. They do have freedom, but they all march to the beat of the same drummer. You know, with a few exceptions. It's all peplum that you're getting. It's all the story that they want you to hear.
Oh, you're absolutely right. I mean, we're being like the geese. We're being force-fed for our liver.
You can take a big story locally that, I mean, look, in New England here, that even the Herald will break. And you go, I get the Globe, and I say, well, I heard about this. And I look at it. There's not a mention of it.
Nobody home.
They will not mention it at all. They don't necessarily lie, but they do by omission. They just flat don't put it out there.
You know what? I'm curious. I don't know what caused me to think about this the other day. Sometimes I get trouble stopping the wheels up here from turning. I wonder what the policy is in Norfolk and at King Philip on kids using smartphones during school hours and bringing them to school. I mean, that could be either a good thing or it could be a terrible thing.
I don't think they can use them during school. I don't know if they have to turn them in or not, but I thought at one point they had to leave them in their lockers. I may be wrong, but that was the impression I had. Maybe one of the students at KP can tell us what's going on.
Yeah, I wonder about that. Interesting factoid this morning on Fox. Last year at Christmas, in a poll, the average father spent $800 on Christmas. This year, it's up to $1,250. And 77% of the dads polled believe the economy is going to improve next year, and that is behind the increase in
probably
purchases. I think it is.
Yeah, I do too. I think the retailers are going to have a good year this year.
You know what?
In spite of all the closings and the chains that are pulling back.
Yeah, I think the smart retailers are going to have a hell of a Christmas.
Yeah.
Walmart, Target, Amazon, of course. Those folks are going to do very well. Your traditional brick and mortar, crappy little
they're going to
mall. They would be hurting.
The thing I did notice, and I guess it's still the kid in me when I get a catalog like, this one happened to be Target with a bunch of toys, because we used to, with 3 grandkids, we were always this time of year searching out toys. And I said to Monica, look at these toys and shit. Look at the prices. I said, you got two factors. I said, one is the tariffs. They put tariffs on a lot of the imports on the toys. But number two is that, what the biggest toy vendor that went out was Toys R Us. Well, that's a void, and everybody else picked that up. And the prices are unbelievable now. Little things that you'd think, well, that little plastic thing would be, $9.99, $42.99, $49.99.
Do you know something I'm very suspicious of? People say, oh, it's up because of the tariffs. I wouldn't be surprised if there was folks doing some gouging, too.
Well, of course there is.
Yeah. And though they expect higher prices because of the tariff problem.
Oh, sure.
So we'll give it to them
Oh,
because it's what
absolutely.
they expect. Yeah.
And I think Toys R Us going out aggravated the situation.
And to bring it back, their rallying cry is a suck 'em on every minute.
Yeah.
By the way, I have a bone to pick with Stuart Varney. I know he watches our show
I'm sure he does.
religiously. He is a cheerleader for the stock market, a shameless cheerleader for it. So this morning he was crowing again about the stocks being up. Look at your 401ks. Look at your IRAs. They're going up. You gotta be happy with this economy. There's one fallacy in that, and that's this. 80% of the people he's talking to don't understand what the IRA is or what the 401k is and couldn't read the damn readout or the report they get monthly.
Or would they look at, or would they even try?
Yeah. Again, I've told this story before. At work, they used to bring that stuff to me and say, did I make money this quarter, Bill?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh almighty, compare this to this and, you can get the answer. Oh, I don't understand that stuff. Thank you, Bill, for explaining it. One lady, God love her, Teresa Gavea. I must have explained to her how that works 20 times. Then the 21st time she came and asked again. Just kept right on going. Count Kamala Harris, who is really hurting in the polls, wants to extend the school day by 3 hours, wants schools to stay open till 6 o'clock at night. Now, there is some parents that'll jump on that train and ride it because they say, oh boy, I can save on after school care. I won't have to pay somebody to babysit the kids. But you know what? That's a terrible thing to do to kids. Have them there at 8:30 in the morning till 6 at night?
6 is too long, but getting out at 2:30, 2:45 sometimes is not necessary either.
Well, there's probably quite a bit of time there for mischief in that 2:30 to 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock range.
But kids will hate to hear that. And I don't know if we should go to the Japanese system either. They don't get. I'm not a big fan right now of summers off. As summers go, that goes back to the old agrarian society when the kids had to get out and work on the farms in the summertime. But most of Europe now and most all of Asia, Korea, Japan, they get the time off, but they don't get it all in one big chunk. They got sections here and sections there.
The parents want it that way because they send little Muffy and little Waldo off to summer camp, get rid of those punks and get them out of our hair, and things like that. All right, well, the baseball camp for 3 weeks for him.
And the kids are probably smarter than I was. I knew when we used to get out the week before Memorial Day. We got out earlier in the Midwest. And boy, when I walked out that door, whatever was in my head did whoosh, and I didn't miss it at all. Goodbye. I don't want to hear it anymore. Next fall, come September, I had to start all over from zero again.
Oh, this is a book, huh?
Yeah,
How does this work?
Yeah, where's the on button? No, there was no on buttons in those days.
Oh, good grief. Well, the town of Norwood has found itself into a. No, I'm not going to do that one next. I'll do that one after this. Ensuring secure retirement for all Americans. So these two guys, James Brett and Richard Neal, he's a representative from Weston, Mass. Consider this. Nearly half of the U.S. households with people age 55 and older have no savings for retirement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. And almost 50% of private sector's workers, some 58 million people, do not even have access to a retirement plan through their employer, including small business workers, self-employed, and gig workers. Yet a typical Social Security check covers less than 40% of pre-retirement earnings. So, first of all, we must continue to preserve tax incentives that encourage individuals to save for retirement. Allowing workers to contribute pre-tax wages to a 401k or other qualified retirement plan is a simple and proven way to encourage savings. Second, it is critical that we take action to increase financial literacy. And that needs to start at a young age. It's important that young people appreciate how student debt will affect them later in life, that younger workers understand just how much they need to be saving to be prepared for retirement, and that all employees are aware of the various tools available for them to invest in their future. And finally, we must take steps to expand access to and increase participation in retirement savings products and plans. In particular, we must make it easier for small businesses to offer retirement saving plans by eliminating barriers for such businesses to band together in multiple employer plans. You know, they have blended into the truth. They haven't developed it, but they have blended into the truth that the current band of workers are not ready for retirement, but their age is.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
They have not prepared themselves financially to retire. And that's the fault of not educating them.
That's
in
right.
Schools, and on the job. The employers should be sitting down with you, Wayne.
Yep.
You know, you're
Exactly.
new with us. Here's the investment plan. All right? Here's how much it'll be worth in a few years. Look at the progress it's made. You've got to join up. Now, that's what they should be doing. But in a lot of cases, it won't work. So, here's the deal. 401ks have got to become mandatory. Absolute mandatory participation by the worker. Just like coming to work every day, working hard, not starting trouble, being productive.
Social Security, same
is
thing.
what is expected of
Yep.
you. Same thing as Social Security.
Exactly.
Take it out of their pay. All right? Take 4% out of their pay every week, and the employer puts 2% in. Also, 6% goes weekly. All right? To the, in simplest form. Goes weekly to the administrator of the plan.
Yep.
Now, sit down with Fidelity, Vanguard, T. Rowe Price. There's plenty of good fund families out there. And say, we want to sign a contract with you. It'll be the government investment plan number 123 or whatever. Let them ramp up, let them handle the influx of the money, and put it into index funds.
Yeah. Well,
Very simple devices, and the people would be protected.
we got to back up from that point. We got to go back to high school again.
Yep.
That living course or that
Yep.
adulting course.
Yep.
You have to teach these kids that you don't live necessarily for today.
Well said.
Every young person coming out, just about, I don't know of anybody, and I probably did the same thing, and you did too. When we were 17 or 18, future be damned. We're out there to have a good time now.
Right. The
We want
music
everything
was gonna
now.
last forever, so
the
let's
music's going
dance.
to play on and on
That's
and
right,
on.
Yeah.
But they've got to be taught that it's like a clock. It's just going to keep on ticking. It's going to catch up with you.
Right.
You got to start now doing something. Maybe not big, but you got to be now. You'd have to be change their idea that everything is not for me. I can defer something and to put it away. Kids today do not want to save anything. They want what they want, and they want it now.
Do you know, I talked to my kids, and I have talked, like at CCD, when I was teaching CCD. I would talk to the kids about all kinds of, I talked to them about anything they wanted to talk
right.
about. When you go to work and you bring your first paycheck home, cash it, and pay yourself first.
Yep.
If you're going to save $25 a week and you get a check for $150 take home, take that $25 and run it right down to the credit union. Then learn to live on the 125 and continue to do that. And as you get a raise, instead of 25, it's going to be $30 a week you're going to save.
Yep. Exactly.
But
But that's got to be taught at an early age. You can't change them anymore once they've been out in the workforce for years. Even when my son graduated from UMass, I took him out car shopping, and Christ, he wanted to buy the biggest, sportiest, fastest, expensive thing in the lot. No, you can't afford it. Well, I just graduated from college, and I'm a microbiologist now, and I got a job, and I got this income. I said, we made him sit down at the kitchen table and do a budget. And we did cheat a little bit on our budget, just to drive home a point. We said, well, this is going to cost you so much, and it wasn't quite that much, but we wanted to drive home a point that you're not in a position right now to be driving a $35,000 car. In those days, it was 30, 40 years ago, to a $30,000, $35,000 sports car.
Sure.
You should be looking at the little sedan here for now.
Do you know what kids?
He didn't want to hear it, but
Do you know what kids don't think of when you have that conversation? Insurance,
oh yeah, well,
health insurance,
we put all that in there.
car insurance, and when you rent, renter's insurance.
We put the insurance in.
Yeah.
That was one I think we jacked it up a little bit.
Well,
you
but
couldn't-
let me tell you something. You got to do it. You got to drive the point home.
you do, otherwise.
And then,
He looked at it and said, I don't have anything left.
well,
We said, well, that's the whole idea. That's what we've been trying to tell you.
and then, when you want to have a car, and when you have $5,000 for an emergency fund in the bank,
That's another thing,
come
yep.
talk to me.
Yep.
Then we'll talk. But until then, you can't afford to do it. But they want instant gratification. I worked with a guy who, he wasn't ashamed of this at all. He said, I have a credit card balance of $29,000.
Yeah.
He said, I pay the interest on it every month. He said, the principal keeps going up.
I've seen several different numbers now, but what the average credit card debt is in this country?
About $8,500?
I thought 17,000. I saw one.
Oh, mamma mia. It all depends on the demographics.
Yeah, I
who
think
you're
so too,
asking.
yeah.
Yeah.
But even 8,500, to me
it's
is
totally out of line. Do you know something? Susie and I have not paid 1 penny of interest on a credit card. Not one. And I use a credit card for every damn thing going.
I do too. I use it for everything. And then, of course, when the Chase bill and the whatever BJ commodities come in, we lift it. How heavy is it this month? But we always use something that you get something back from it too, a rebate or something out of it. But credit cards are excellent.
They are.
You have to use them right. But if you use it as a panacea, I want this and I want that, well, I'll just put it on the plastic.
Now,
It'll kill you.
I will say this. We were charged interest once, and it was because
I'm gonna.
she always does the same thing. She always mails it 5 days before the due date.
I mail it practically when I get it.
No, you got to live in my house. It's got to be. And she's the bookkeeper, and something got lost in the mail.
Yeah,
But you know what? Called up.
I got the same thing.
Yep, and we'll just take that right off your account.
It was.
Mr. Crane. You've been with us for 16 years.
In fact, it was Chase,
Yeah, Chase.
and the bill had to be there on, let's say, the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was, something like the 18th. They posted it on the 19th. Well, I mailed it almost 3 weeks prior to that.
Woo!
I said, wait a minute. I said, and she said, oh, okay. Oh, she said, let me look. I said, okay, well, and she said, oh, we'll give you credit for that. And they wanted a $37 late fee or something on it.
Give me a break.
I said, come on. I said,
Yeah. But I swear they do that on purpose. When it comes in the date it's due, and I didn't have a chance to get to that.
didn't get posted today. I'll do it tomorrow. Yep.
And how many people are going to call up?
So how many people even see it when they get their bill?
That's
They don't
exactly
notice
right.
that.
They don't.
Look at the bottom line. I said, oh, that's it.
No.
I go through and I said, oh boy, we had a good time this month, didn't we? Had a good time here, good time here. And I don't get any response from the kitchen, and I know what she's saying.
No, you know how that's going to go. Selectmen debate lack of bartending regulations down in Norwood, down at the Shamrock Pub
You don't know it.
on 175 Railroad Avenue. It's a men's bar by another name. So the bartender had been drinking all night. I swear that some of these people have never been in a bar in their life. But how many times have you seen, especially in a men's bar, Randy, give me another and pour one for yourself there, old guy.
Yeah, that used to be a common
Yeah, common deal.
deal.
And what the good bartenders used to do was take a shot glass and turn it
Turn upside down, yep.
and put it back there. But this guy was popping them. So he got into a fight with a patron.
The bartender did.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he was Stinko, I guess. So him and the guy that was drinking there, obviously he was drunk too. And so they got into a bit of a row. And so the selectmen are very, very angry about this, including one that must be somebody's maiden aunt or something. He's a real pain. But I've probably never been in a bar in his life. But, he shouldn't be drinking. Well, anyway, to make a long story short, so the selectmen start looking at this. Well, we ought to lift their license for 3 days or something like that. Well, there's no regulation that prohibits a bartender from drinking. Uh-oh. So then they tried to figure some other way. Oh, can't do that either. So the selectman said, this guy, Alan Howard, says, I don't see something I can hang my hat on. And then, of course, the editorial was, they whitewash another event at the Shamrock. You got to kill somebody before something happens there.
Some states, a bartender required a license. I don't know if they do here or not. I know where I grew up, they did, because it was the most difficult license to get because it took at least 10 minutes. And the questions were, you should wash glasses between patrons. You shouldn't put the stuff you sweep off the floor into the back of the bar. There was stuff about being dirty and clean. And
Patrick's got one.
did he?
Yeah. But I think it's like the ServSafe.
Yeah, that's what this was.
It's a
should
certification. You got to go to a
with the temperature water, there should be that you wash the glasses.
and I'm
stuff
pretty
like
sure
that.
that's what it is.
You didn't have to know how to make any drinks, or they didn't care about that.
No, nothing like that. So anyway, the board, after a bunch of confusion, they called the owner in, and this maiden aunt here, Selectman. Well, you knew he was working by himself. There wasn't a second bartender, and you left him alone for 4 hours. You didn't come in to check to see, make sure everything was all right. I mean, come on. Anyway, the bottom line, I guess there's going to have to be regulations in Norwood for bartenders.
I guess so.
And I'm just wondering if there is any regulations for Massachusetts bartenders.
I don't know.
But apparently not.
Somebody could tell us.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Oh, okay. So now on TV, we've got streaming services.
Yep.
And before, movies on TV were usually made by MGM or Warner.
Yeah, they were theater movies.
That's right.
That
yeah.
were out there. They're running, then they put it on TV.
And then the theater movies, when they had a break, would do some movies for TV. But now you got streamers, and you've got Roku and
Netflix,
and you've got
well, even Amazon's in the movie.
Amazon's in it, and Disney's in it, and so anyway. Now, I have watched a couple of programs. I haven't really. No, let me back up. I have blended into a couple of my wife's programs that she's watching, and I have said to her, are you watching this? No, I'm listening to it. I said, the acting is, and she said, yeah, it's terrible, isn't it? She said, it's awful. She said, and this passes for entertainment. She said, I just keep it on to keep me company. And so you take a look at all the streaming companies now that are writing their own content. This is a hell of a time to be a writer. Boy, if you can create something, man, you can get paid
I
big
have a question for you and other movie people. Monica and I stumbled into, I was on demand one day, just floating around, digging around. I came across the movie, and I think the name of it was Badlands? Was it North Dakota? Oh, shoot.
It wasn't Clint Eastwood, was
No,
it?
so there was some people in it that were known, but it was about the Dakotas. But the thing was, like, listen to Shakespeare.
Yeah, character actors, huh?
Well, no, they spoke as Shakespeare. Thee should do this, and thy should do that.
Oh,
and they were talking about going outside. The town had a telephone now.
Wonder if they were Mormons, because didn't they speak like
They
that
did,
way
but
back
this
in the
was
beginning?
like, maybe you should go quee up in the line outside. Well, come on, man, that cowboys didn't talk like that. And the first act, Badlands. It's not Badlands either. I just can't think of the name of it. See, you get old, folks, and I had it just before I opened my big mouth, and it just flew out someplace.
You know, the point I was going to try to make was the quality has gone down.
Oh, yeah.
Because it has to. These people start churning out stuff faster and faster and faster, and the writers are poorer and poorer and really poor.
I didn't lose it. It was just hanging here. It was Deadwood.
Deadwood. Okay, Deadwood. Right.
Could have been a great movie. I mean, it could have been an excellent movie. But I think they took a story out of Shakespeare's story and tried to convert it into a Western. Even the plot was a little bit suspect. But it was so stupid. I said, Monica, do you understand this? She said, no, I don't know what the hell they're talking about.
Have you noticed any of these 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock 1 hour cop shows or NCIS?
No, I don't watch them. I cannot stand them.
Well, every single woman cop is smarter than the men
Oh,
cops.
absolutely. And she can shoot and fight and
everything. And she wears spike heels.
Yep.
And she's built like a porn star.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
she wears makeup that would knock you out, and her hair is always
Never
perfect.
out of place. Makeup's never out of place.
Yep.
And the
she's
guys,
the
the
one-
guys are all super smart too.
Yeah.
and they-
Oh, yeah. Oh, some of them aren't, and the girl has to bail them out.
well, that's
and
true.
you know what else it really drives me nuts too is, look, I know there are minority cops, but in every single scene where you got a meeting of the cops, there's a black lieutenant, a Spanish sergeant,
Yeah, they have to make that balance out.
a white guy, a white girl, a black girl, and then some other different nationality or something. But in every single time they have that meeting, it has got to be by the numbers.
Oh yeah,
And in real life,
it's just not real.
it is not real. I said to my wife, I said, you know, honey, cops don't talk like that.
No.
She says, oh, I know. I don't know how she knows, but
Maybe you don't want to know.
no, maybe I don't want to know is right. Herbie Carr stopped her once for speeding. That's the only time she's had a problem. And she, oh, you're Bill's wife. Oh, okay. Well, slow down. All right. So now we've got scooters for sale. Not for sale, for use.
Yep.
In the cities. Electric scooters. You hop on these babies, and I guess you put a credit card in them or something. I don't know what the hell you do, but you hop on them.
I'm familiar with the scooter itself because my grandkids got one. But
A lift scooter. So you hop on it, and off you go. Driving around the city on a scooter. Now, I got to tell you something. If that doesn't kill 14 or 15 or 16 people a day, it'll be a miracle.
it's true. You know.
All right. Now, let me ask you a question. We go up to Senior Center.
Yep.
Would you trust anybody that goes up to Senior Center on an electric scooter? No, because we're all old.
We're all
we don't
older.
have balance. We have brittle bones, and we have extremely poor reactions.
When my grandkids got that electric scooter, the middle one, I think it was the youngest one, he's riding it. He says, "Here, Grandpa, you want to try it?" I says, "No, Grandpa don't want to be in traction by the end of the day." I said, "Grandpa will go flying off that thing." And
This is madness.
Yep.
And anybody that doesn't, well, here's another thing too. I get a kick out of guys. They retire. Well, I've missed a lot in life, and I tell you what, Eloise, I'm getting myself a motorcycle. Well, let me tell you,
look, go ahead.
if you haven't ridden one half your life, at the age of 66 is not the time to learn. I mean, you might as well have the wife get a big insurance policy out because you're going to be dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know, they call them. They call them donor vote or organ donors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the guys down in Walpole got a moped, took it down to the center of Walpole to show people, crashed into the sidewalk, into the abutment, ended up flattening his ass on the sidewalk, and the moped was never quite the same again.
You know where we had a lot of problems with that? Was the island of Bermuda.
Oh, really? Sure, of course.
They had all those
They're all over the
mopeds,
place.
and tourists would come in, and they get off the plane, and you got 15 places to rent a moped. They didn't care, just take it. Most people couldn't run them. Didn't know what the hell they were doing. The accident rates was terrible, and now I've heard of they've tightened down on it. You got to show a driver's license to start with. You didn't used to have to do that. You have to take a 15-minute.
Yeah, the safety course
how to
or
run this
something,
and where the
yeah.
brake is and where they usually didn't have. You just, it's just a moped. Just jump on and go.
Sure.
Well, you might go for the 100 feet, or you might go for half a day until you run into a truck or something.
Now, I have never ridden on a motorcycle in my life.
Oh, I have.
I've not ridden on one, and I have driven a mini bike once. And let me tell you something. I would no more get on a motorcycle, fire it up, even if it had an automatic transmission, and try to drive it.
No, me neither.
Now, I mean, why don't I just
I don't
kill
think
myself?
I could ride a bicycle anymore. I haven't ridden a bicycle in 40 or 50 years.
Yeah, I haven't ridden a bicycle for... Oh, I got one when I was first married. I thought it'd be a good way to exercise, and I bought a used bike from somebody. And that's the last time I've been on a bike. That's 50 years. Wow. Well, we'll finally solve the burning controversy on what to do about Adolf Hitler's birthplace in
I saw
Austria.
that in Austria.
Yep, in Braunau am Inn. Braunau am Inn. Basically, Braunau on the Inn River. Yeah, and still standing. It's a multi-family home, and they are going to gut it and turn it into a police station.
Good use for it.
You know, they really were paranoid about this being a shrine to Hitler.
Exactly.
By the born-again Nazis.
the neo-Nazis.
Neo-Nazis. And they solved it by changing it into a police station. And now, of course, they won't allow tours in there or anything like that. It's either that or knock it down, one or the other.
Well, that's the very reason that they take like Saddam Hussein, his body, or whoever these notorious characters, either bury him at sea or cremate him.
That's right.
Because somebody's going to, if you put a burial with a headstone, it's going to turn into a shrine for somebody.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Or it's going to be destroyed by others.
Yeah.
And then the family's constantly rebuilding it. And Well, here's something that is noteworthy, I think. Ozark, Alabama. A mostly white Alabama jury on Friday convicted a white police officer of manslaughter in the fatal shooting of an unarmed black man in 2016. They returned the verdict against Aaron Cody Smith for the shooting death of 58-year-old Gregory Gunn. Smith shot and killed Gunn after he fled during a pat-down. The officer had stopped Gunn for a random stop and frisk as Gunn was walking home around 3 a.m. Defense lawyers maintained that Smith fired in self-defense because Gunn was grabbing a painter's pole from the porch. But prosecutors said Gunn was never a threat to the officer. The shooting of an unarmed black man by a white police officer caused protests in Alabama's capital city. Friends said Gunn was walking home from a weekly card game to the house he shared with his mother when Smith stopped him. He died yards from his house. We can be encouraged that maybe we might get beyond these white cops from walking no matter what they do. First of all, what right did he have to stop that man at 3 a.m. in the morning?
From reading that, nothing.
Yeah, if this is true, yeah. And we have to take it on face value.
Yeah, we don't have anything else to go on.
Yeah, because in Massachusetts, there used to be a law on the books when I was a kid. And I know it was because I used to hang around with Bob Campbell and Charlie Ray. And, at night, there was a law on the books that you could stop a guy and ask him what he was doing. And it was called being abroad in the nighttime without being able to give a good account of one's self. Finally got removed. But I don't think Alabama had that on the books. Otherwise, he would have said it.
No, we still stop them, though.
But you know what? If this was a residential neighborhood and the guy's walking home, unless he's stinking drunk and stumbling or singing at the top of his lungs, what the hell right did that cop have to do that?
True.
If in fact all the facts are as they are. So it gives hope to the fact that maybe we're about to turn a corner.
But we do stop, even in this state, without out and out see something wrong.
Oh, yeah.
If you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, I know my son him and a couple of his roommates got stopped one night. They lived in Brighton someplace, and they went in to do whatever young guys do in downtown, drinking and going to the clubs. And they were too damn cheap to take a cab home, so they decided we're going to walk. So it's like 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, walking through this neighborhood, and a cop stops them, puts them up and frisks them. And we didn't do nothing. He says, "Yeah, I know, but you're walking through a big crack area right now."
Yeah,
He said, you 3 white guys walking through this neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the morning. There's something
suspicious.
wrong here.
Yeah.
And
Now, those cops were not supposed to do that.
I know.
But they were probably doing that more to protect, that cop was to protect those kids.
Yeah.
And he took the opportunity to shake them down while he was at it. And I don't blame the cop for patting him down. You don't want to have somebody pull something out and shoot
I said,
you.
"Craig, is there a lesson there?
Yeah.
Don't be walking through that neighborhood at 2 o'clock in the morning."
Exactly. Things are dangerous enough without doing dumb things.
Yeah. Well, they did dumb things. They're like kids do, young guys do. They're immortal,
We've all done it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, listen, folks. I hope that we've solved a lot of problems that you were worried about and wondering about. But if not, come back next time, and we'll rustle up some more problems and see if we can't solve those for you too.
Yeah, we're good problem solvers.
Yeah. In the meantime, have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Stay safe, stay warm, and
Be nice to your neighbor.
be nice to your neighbor, and go Patriots.
Amen. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.